Before we get to the fun part of horse betting, we need to get some ground rules situated. First off, you gotta choose what kind of race you're gonna be betting on. First off, you got flat racing. Flat racing is the most common type of horse racing. The most popular version of this race is the Kentucky Derby in America. Commonly, these races are between 440 yards to 2 miles or 3.2 kilometers. But these races can be as short as 220 yards or up to more than 4 miles. Anything over 2 miles is very uncommon for these types of races. Next up, we got jump racing. Sometimes referred to as national hunt racing by the British, this type of racing involves jumping. Wow, what a surprise! There are two forms, hurdling and steeplechasing. Hurdles are smaller, quick jumps for younger horses. As the horse grows and becomes more experienced, the jumps and height distance increase. This is known as steeplechasing. Unsurprisingly, this is the type of racing with the most injuries and death for both horses and jockeys. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. The third type of racing is harness racing. This involves a horse wearing a harness that is connected to a scully in which the rider rides in. This is probably what you imagine when you're thinking of Romans and horses, but the racing version looks wild in comparison. The jockey is barely holding on and is sitting on a bicycle seat 4 feet behind the horse. It looks super uncomfortable. The fourth kind of racing is saddle trot racing. It's like flat racing, but the horses have to run a certain way. It's probably one of the least popular versions of racing. Who is getting into racing that much that normal isn't good enough? They have to run a certain kind of way or they're disqualified. Okay, so this is how horses normally run. And this is saddle trot racing. Yeah, you know how they get the horse to do that? Physical abuse and time. What a great motivator! The final version of racing is the endurance race. Endurance races are broken up into 5 categories and can range between 10 miles to 620 miles. The 5 categories from shortest to longest are pleasure rides at 10 to 20 miles, non-competitive rides at 21 to 27 miles, competitive rides at 20 to 45 miles, and endurance rides at 40 to 100 miles. Endurance rides can also be multiple days, up to 250 miles. The first endurance race was in California in 1955. It was 1 day of riding spanning 100 miles. The longest endurance ride is at the Mongol Derby. It runs through the Mongolian steppe. It is to recreate the messenger route set up by Genghis Khan. You know, that guy that fathered 1 in 16 people in the entire world? Yeah, that guy.